Comics TV. Comics, comics, comics TV. Fantasy and enemy. What's it gonna be now? Alternative and mainstream too. Here every week for you on Comics, Comics, Comics TV. Comics, comics, comics TV.
Hi and welcome to Comics TV. This is Steve Rohr.
And this is Mike Rizzo.
Each and every week we bring you the best in comic book information, such as
Comic book reviews, previews, games, graphic novels, toys, whatever we can.
trading cards too.
Oh, yes.
Every week we do this. We're the best in the industry, so stay tuned because we got a ton of great stuff. Mainstream reviews are coming up next.
And Mike's head is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Here's our mainstream review.
This week on the Mainstream Review, Mr. Hero, the Mnemonic Man #7 from Techno Comics, $1.95. Written by James Vance, art by Ted Slampick, and ink by Art Nichols. Mr. Avatar makes an appearance, and it's hard to destroy Mr. Hero. But in the meantime, Mr. Hero has two new enemies called Deadbolt and Bloodbolt, but also has a new ally by the name of Chameleon. The art in this one was excellent. The story was excellent, except it's a typical superhero line. You got a bad guy, you got a good guy, you got a mob boss, and you got an ally. On a rating from 1 to 10, I give this book about a 6.5. And on a price index, it's about 7 cents a page, so that's not bad. This is a good series. I stick with it. Pick this one up. Next, I have Dead Man, the graphic novel from DC. $19.95. But I'm sure you can pick these up a lot cheaper around different stores and at bargain bins. Writer is Mike Barron, the artist is Kelly Jones, and the inker is Les Dorshield. Now, something I want to say real quick. The second I picked this book up, I knew Kelly Jones did the artwork because I'm a very, very big fan of Batman Bloodlines and Red Rain, so I knew the artwork, and it's the same exact artwork. He has gone from supernatural hero to insane spirit of evil. Now he's trying to pull back and retreat from what has become. But the forces of hell aren't making it easy. And those who would aid him, the Phantom and Madame Waxixchi, to release a secret which is driving him mad. The art in this was excellent, of course, because I like Kelly Jones. The story is above excellent. On a rating from 1 to 10, I gave this one a 10! It was fabulous! And now, as I shoo Cujo out, my last book in Mainstream Review, Argus, #4 from DC. $1.75. Argus. Writer is Mark Waid. Artist is Phil Heister. And inker is Rick Rankin. A satellite is taking over the airwaves of the world. And it's totally screwing everybody up. And it's up to Argus to destroy it. Special appearance by The Flash, of course, because they got to try and sell the book somehow. How would I rate this book? Well, just as an example, Jubilee has toilet paper on sale for 6 rolls for $2. Here's a hint. Go out and spend $1.75 for the book. You'll get better wipes, and that's got to be the worst book I have read this year. Sorry, DC, it's a bummer. And that's it for my Mainstream Review. Argus, baby. It's shocked.
That's my dad. And that's Mom. Dad's got an idea. A way to get rid of all the grody garbage that's polluting the world. He's invented a big rocket ship to shoot all the garbage into outer space. Mom's not sure, but Dad says his invention will save the world.
There's an easier way to save the world. Recycle. For your free recycling action guide, write Recycle. Environmental Defense Fund, 257 Park Avenue South, New York, New York.
Burger, fries,
Value gone.
There's never been a better time to buy.
Nope, no tea.
Buy more equal news.
A message from the Media Foundation.
Everyone has their own idea of a hero.
Magic Johnson. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Mr. Neal.
My hero, Gloria Stefan.
Martin Luther King. Mr. Hope.
These are teachers, but to the kids they've reached, they're heroes. They've given them hope. They've given them choices. They've changed their lives.
Oh, the children are the heroes.
The most fulfilling thing is watching a child succeed.
I just like to help them make their dreams come true.
Teachers have the power to wake up young minds, to be heroes, to make a difference. Reach for that power. Teach. If you want to make an impact on our future, call 1-800-45-TEACH.
Mr. Wilkins.
Mrs. Eisenhower.
Mr. Adam.
Be a teacher. Be a hero.
Hi, and welcome to the COMX-TV Comic News. As part of Black September, Malibu and Marvel Comics team up to bring Prime and Spider-Man together in Prime Infinity, a special crossover. There will be a significant change in the Prime character, which will lead into the new Prime series, which debuts in October. Apparently, there are similarities between Peter Parker and Kevin Green, the alter egos of Spider-Man and Prime. I'm sure this is just one of many, many crossovers these two companies will have over the next year, until you've had every character in the Ultraverse meet every character in the Marvel Universe. It should be interesting, or possibly boring, depending on how you look at it. Be written by Gerard Jones and Len Straczewski, with art by John Statema. Sounds quite interesting. Take a look for that one.
The Outcast makes its debut in Acclaim Comics' new title, The Outcast, being released in August. Penciled by Norm Breyfogle and written by Jesse Hurricane Bredinka, The Outcast is the story of Lenny, a young man who excelled in all his endeavors until an accident left him with permanent brain damage. Sounds like Mike. Releasing an alien presence buried deep within his DNA. Acclaim editor-in-chief, Mr. Bob Layton, says this is not your typical superhero story, but more of a tale of characters struggling with both internal and external conflicts. Definitely sounds like Mike. It sounds like a combination of X-Files, X-Men, and Mike Rizzo. Look for it in August. This coming to all the stores near you.
The August-September release of FemForce number 87 from AC Comics marks the 10th anniversary celebration for one of the longest-running American independent comic book titles ever, 1985 to 1995. And that's not an RIP, they're continuing. The same publisher, editor-in-chief, and writer that created the characters 10 years ago are still working together. That is Bill Black, C.B. Gorby, and Mark Hike. They've survived every industry downturn and thrived in every industry upturn. Well, what makes FemForce different than every other comic book? Good question. Strong, character-driven book with diverse readership and characters that come across as real people. This also marks the countdown to 100, an opportunity for new readers to jump on and begin reading this independent title. Stay tuned here on Comics TV as we have some giveaways in association with AC Comics.
The master and founder of the Bad Girl comic style, Joseph Michael Linsner, and Comic Images have announced that Joseph Michael Linsner, Dawn, and Beyond collector cards set to be released this month. This 90-card series will feature art drawn his critically acclaimed Cry for Dawn series, and a collection of his most recent creations, some never before seen. The card set coincides with the release of Dawn #1 from Cyrus Comics. There will be the assorted Chromium Chase cards, rare cards, and autograph cards, except a 10-card pack to sell for about $1. Now don't quote us on this because they have a tendency to change. Comics News this week, and that's it for Comics News this week. Don't go away, because Mike will come with the independent reviews as long as he stops shaking the damn camera. Stay tuned, and we'll be back right after this.
My first book today on the independent review is Optic Nerve #1 from Drawn and Quarterly Publications. Adrian Tomine is the genius behind this former mini-comic. It has now come of age with this first issue from Drawn and Quarterly. Tomine is one of the best portrayers of human life and feeling. Having tuned his style in his mini-comics, you can see where this creator is destined to be a star in the world of comics. He is one of the best at showing emotion in his characters, with a crisp, clean art style and excellent writing. This collection of stories ranges from 1 to several pages in length. There are 24 pages total at a cost of $2.95. That makes Optic Nerve 12 cents per page on the COMX-TV price guide, but it's a little high, but definitely worth an A+, worth every single penny. If you're looking for some real-life type stories, this is definitely it. Next, I have The Dark Earth #1 from New Age Entertainment Group. This 16-page story is written by creator Mark Jukes with art by Chris Velasquez. This is your somewhat typical super team set in the year 2021 right here in the USA. But Americans are now in the minority as the USA has been taken over. The art's good, a bit on the sketchy side. Story's okay. I can't say it's the best or even near the best that I've ever read, but it's enjoyable enough. The story premise can be very good if they can do something with it. Now, one of the attractions of these guys is that they portray their characters at convention appearances. On August 13th at the Buffalo Marriott, you'll be able to catch these guys at another comic book convention. They'll be in attendance, they'll be dressed in costume, and it'll be pretty cool, so check them out. At $2.50, this book is a bit high at almost 16 cents per page on the price index, but I think it's a pretty good book, and I give it B-, and I hope that they continue up the good work, and we'll be back in just a second. I'm back, thanks. Primitive #2 is from Spare Time Studios. These guys are all on the internet and promoted their book quite a bit. Steve Campbell writes, Larry Merrill does the pencils, and Steve Adlesey does the inks. You may remember Adlesey from an interview we showed of him last spring. This guy with the beret, yeah, you might remember him. Stories about a group of cavemen captured by aliens, enhanced mentally and physically to the point where they decide that they're more intelligent than the aliens and they want to return to Earth. Only problem is it's 20,000 years later, and Earth is just a wee bit different than when they left. They decide to try and make Earth their home, only they see what current Earthlings are doing to the planet. So they help out in New York City, they stop a potential nuclear war. It's an above-average story, actually, with very good artwork. Like the previous book, if they can take this concept somewhere, they'll have an excellent title. The cost on this book is $2.50, which makes it only 8 cents per page on the price index. An excellent buy. I give Primitives #2 a B+. Now my last book is Neil Gaiman's Lady Justice #1 from Techno Comics. Steve did a Techno earlier, right?
Yep,
I did. And we're going to do Techno later, aren't we?
Yeah.
And this is the latest title in their universe. It's created in part by Neil Gaiman. C.J. Henderson is the writer, and Mike Netzger does pencils with Rick Magyar doing the inks. There are 25 pages in this introductory title. Here we learn how Lady Justice gains her powers and that she brings justice to those that deserve it. Sort of like Steve. And it is bloody violent when she does. There are no punches held in this book. It is non-code approved. When Lady Justice is dealing, the person at the receiving end definitely knows it. Lots of color, lots of blood, nice artwork, decent story. This was an enjoyable book. The basic idea is nothing brand new. It's just a little twist and the female characters are very strong lately, so this book's, you know, it's got that feeling, you know, female characters, everything, so everybody's going to like it. So the book will probably do well. Well, it's only $1.95. Makes it about 8 cents per page on the price index. And basically what that means is 8 cents for every page of story only. So I give it a B+, and that's about it for the Comics TV independent reviews. We got a lot more stuff coming up, so stay tuned. Hello and welcome to
Dual Review. This week we have something a little bit special for you. We've got 4 of the price guides out there in the interview magazines that review nothing but comic books. Me and Mike are going to compare and see what we matched up and find out who is the best magazine out on the market and worth the money.
What is the best magazine? We want to know that. So after some lengthy reading, digesting, we rated these top 4. We calculated price per page, number of ads, a whole ton more information. We put it all together, and Steve will tell you what he thinks first of Combo.
Okay, the Combo price guide sells for $3.95. The issue that I looked at, the best section in here was the Evangeline interview. It was very, very to the point. It explained a lot. Every magazine puts an interview in it, but this one keeps you on your toes right from beginning to end. And there was also an interview with Razor right after it, and I gotta admit that was very good also. Worst section in this book was pages 1 through 127 and 130 through 180. The rest of the pages were terrible.
What does that leave?
And that leaves the interview. The cover was even terrible. My overall rating on this one, a very poor spin-off of a couple other good magazines out on the market. Ripped off ideas and definite ripped off interviews, because the same interview shows up months before in another book, and all they do is take the same interview and spice it up. Overall rating from an A to an F is a D-, and the only reason it didn't score an F was because of the Evangeline interview, and the women in the book looked very good. What did you think of it, Mike?
Well, Combo is a conglomeration of 2 or 3 magazines.
Conglomeration?
Yep, it's a big word.
Big word,
there was 180 pages, like Steve said. 42 pages were ads, leaving 66 pages of articles and 62 pages of price guides. Now, at that rate, Combo costs about 6 cents per page just for the articles alone. The stories in Combo range from 1 to 3 pages in hand length, and most had pictures filling up half the space.
Yep.
So you got a page and you got this much picture and this much story. So, I mean, there wasn't much in there. I think Combo tries to cover a little bit too much in too little space. You got 3 pages, and actually you probably got a whole page of article and 2 pages of
pictures. And little subtitles underneath the pictures.
Yep.
It was terrible. I'm sorry, I thought it was not worth $3.95.
There's about a dozen different sections, none are that good. The interviews are short, relatively boring, although Steve liked a couple. They do include dual covers, front and the back. One thing that bugged me was that they had an interview with Everett Hartzell, and then they featured him in the small press section. I don't consider him small press, he's independent. Small press, to me, is mini comics and real small press. These guys, he's not a small press.
He's independent.
I think that's kind of bogus. They had some good promo inserts, well, nothing great, some promo inserts, some techno-comic stuff. The best section, I thought, was the adult card update.
You would.
And the worst section...
Mike, our pervert comic
the worst section was the hot list. Autographs. Now, that was stupid.
Who wants to...
That was stupid.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse, they raised their price from $3.95 to $4.99 this month.
And this one gets the punch.
Yes. So, I originally gave Combo a C, but I'm giving it a C- now. I don't think it's entertainment or informative. Next we have Hero number 24.
Yes. Hero Illustrated. I didn't get the price on this one. I forgot to put it on.
$3.95.
It's $3.95, just like Combo. Best section, the review of the comic book movies coming up and the ones that are already out on the market and out there. Shows you the ups, the downs, the do's and the don'ts of the comics, what they think, how they think they're going to fare, and most of the time they're right on the nose. Worst section, the news section. It's either old news being brought up again, or it's just rumors. They heard this, they heard that, that. That was terrible. My overall grade needs a lot of work if this wants to keep up with the big boys, and I don't think it's going to. It's been around for 24 issues, I grant you that, but this is a spin-off of the other #1 book, which we'll get to later. Rating from A to F, I gave it a C+ only because of a few different articles in there.
Like you said, number 24 means they've survived for 2 years, but they've been walking in the tracks.
It's been over 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
They skipped like 3 months here and a couple months there. Shipping was...
Hero is the smallest out of them all, with only 116 pages, but there's only 24 pages of ads, leaving 89 pages of articles at a cost of about 4.5 cents per page, which is a pretty good price. There was one price guide page, and that was just for an article that they were doing. They include some decent inserts like a Bart Simpson joke book, a short comic, and all the regular features, the news and all that stuff. The articles and features I feel are well written. The reviews are all based on, comic book reviews that is, they're all based on certain criteria that must be answered. They're not always favorable reviews, more honest than some of the other magazines. There were interviews with John Byrne and Everett Hartzell. Again, wasn't they just one,
like I said, one book gets it and bang, everybody spins off, takes the one big article, cuts it down, chops it up, puts their own words in, and bang, it's their interview. Yeah, get real.
That's the only problem.
They heard it from our show is what it was.
The only problem with that is you've got these people, and they're making the circuits, and they're all going to answer the same questions.
They're all knocking down our door to get interviews with us.
That's the problem. I think Hero is a good fan-oriented book. The best section I thought was Hollywood Heroes, and the worst was the Hero Insider, which is what do you call that thing?
What?
Rumor mill that Steve was talking about before.
That's all it was. We heard this and we heard that.
Although it's the smallest of the 4 magazines we reviewed, it doesn't have a price guide. I think it contains a good amount of meat, and I gave it a B. Next, we have Wizard, number 47. They're working their way up to number 50.
Wizard, Guide to Comics. This sells for $3.99.
Yep.
They put the extra 4 cents in just to make you dig deeper in your pocket. But the best section in this, I thought, would be the model figure kits. They explain how the characters are made, what models are made to use them, how they're combined. I thought this was fabulous. There's a couple spin-off magazines that have it, but this is pretty neat to see when you open it up and you see your favorite comic book hero sitting there in a vinyl model. You see somebody working on it. They got little tips how to make them. That was the best section in the book. Worst section, I personally think there wasn't a bad section in this book, but the whole book is put together in a neat order. It's got a special order through it. It's got a pro list at the beginning, tells you what's coming up, what pages. A lot of the books don't have that. Overall, I like Wizard better than any of the other comic-related magazines. This is my top book. I say that this one is the one that if people want to know, the price guide is the closest to the actual price on the Comic Buyer's book. On a rating from A to F, I gave this one an A-. The only reason I gave it an A- was sometimes they're 3 to 5 days late on shipping. Not 3 months like Hero, but 3 to 5 days. And that ain't bad. I really liked Wizard.
Well, this is the longest running of these books that we reviewed. Like I said, number 47. They attempt to be the cool comic magazine.
Yeah.
Even publisher Gareb Shamus thinks he's the coolest comic person around.
He bad.
Yeah, right.
He like my
There's 216 pages, a price guide with 68 pages, 55 pages of ads, leaving 93 pages of articles. This gives Wizard a price of a little under 4.5 cents per page for articles only. About 0.2 cents less than Hero, so they're pretty close in price comparison, even though there's more pages in Wizard.
Yeah,
the biggest
4 cents.
The biggest complaint I have is there are no real reviews, just the hot picks. You have only hot picks. They don't badmouth any comic. Obviously, they want to be nice to everybody, which you can't be.
They're not burning their bridges, and they're not stepping on any toes.
Unlike Steve, who burned our DC bridge a little while ago.
Well, it stunk. This was the worst book I ever read. It'll never show up in the hot picks, I'll tell you that much.
This is definitely a fanboy mag. There's articles that were okay. They weren't good enough to get me to buy this on a regular basis. There was an interview with John Byrne. He must have been making the circuit again, promoting his Wonder Woman, his new Wonder Woman gig. The best section is Homemade Heroes, where people make dolls, little characters out of other ones, and it's pretty neat. And the worst part is casting call. It's okay. I mean, it's not a bad thing where they pick characters to be other people. This was like Sandman. That's probably the worst section out of the book. There really wasn't
Actually, I liked it because if they ever had a movie, the Sandman movie, the people that they picked were right there.
Yeah, it was interesting, but it was a kind of stupid thing to put in the magazine. They had some regular inserts, but they also had Stormwatch 23 and a half mini comic, which wasn't too bad. Wizard is okay, but I give it a B minus. The last book we're checking out is Overstreet's Fan #1. This is the first issue since Diamond bought the publisher. Is it good? Well, we'll see.
Overstreet's Fan magazine. This should be DOA real soon, just like Michael. Worst section? The price guide in here. They were so low it was unbelievable. Prices that go for $250 out there on the market, they're selling for $125. You feel like writing a letter to them and saying, well, if you can get me this book for $125, get it for me, because they're ridiculous.
The only thing I gotta say about it is that, like we talked earlier, is it's only as good as if somebody wants it.
I got a $5 million comic book. Write to us. I'll sell it to you.
Right. If
somebody is in demand for that book, it's the only time the price guide's good.
Right.
But Wizards is closer than this bozo magazine. Best section, previews of the new comics coming out.
We don't burn any bridges.
Yeah. Previews of the new comics coming out. I liked it. The only thing was they put their own colors in it. These weren't colored copies from the publishers. We get preview magazines ourselves. They're in black and white. They're on copied sheets. They're actual, just a sketch. That's what they got. They colored them in at the company right there. But it wasn't bad because I got to see a couple different... well, I read an older one, so they were showing
Wait,
Grifter.
what are you talking about? Oh, there's a couple new, was it Badrock and something else? A couple little series.
But those are out already. Grifter, they're already out. They were showing the previews. This was an older book I looked at. They were showing the previews to the magazine, but like I said, they colored them in themselves. Overall, too much like the other magazines. I gave it a C- because I did like the way that they put the mini comics in there to show you what's coming out. Did a little write-up on them, but other than that, they got a C-.
Well, the cost is $3.95 for this Overstreet Fan. It's a whopping 224 pages, the most of any of them. There were 88 pages of price guide, the most also. Only 38 pages of ads, leaving 95 pages of articles. The final cost per page, a little over 4 cents, making this the lowest price per page for articles. Best section, if it's accurate, I think is the price guide. The worst section is definitely the interview with Tony Daniel. Instead of an interesting interview, they throw in stupid questions, stupid comments like, do you dental floss? And stupid things that have no bearing on anything.
This book has no bearing on anything.
This is so stupid I stopped reading it. I just flipped through the rest of the book.
Again,
these guys are afraid to hurt feelings, so they have no real bad reviews.
We say it as it is, so we don't care who we hurt.
Well, we care who we hurt, but if we don't think a book is good, we want you to know.
We want everybody to know this book is not good. You don't have to listen to us. You don't have to take our words. These are our opinions.
Right.
But 9 out of 10 times you'll find out we are right.
Yeah, I mean, if a book is if the book is really bad, we're going to tell you because we don't want you to waste your buck. Yeah. So, out of the 4 books, we got Combo, Hero, Wizard, and Fan. My #1 book was Hero. I gave it a B something or other, a B. And
my #1 book was Wizard. I thought it was well worth the money, worth the 4 extra cents, and I gave that an A-. And that's it
for the Do Review.